everybody. Welcome back to Awesome Autographs and More. It's day number 1 of the National, and I'm here to report what I picked up. First off, the VIP party was supposed to be Steve Sax, Benito Santiago, and Dwight Gooden. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, Steve Sax was not able to show up, but they did bring in Mr. Ellis Burks in his place. Unfortunately, the only thing I had for him to sign was one of these cards. I had so many cards for Sax and Santiago and those guys that I didn't even bother to bring many of those. I just happened to have one of them with me. The rest of my supply was here at the hotel. So, needless to say, that's all I got of him, and his line was relatively short the whole day. Probably could have ended up getting, a dozen of his stuff if I wanted to. The other second person, Mr. Dwight Gooden from the VIP party, I got this one leaf card signed for 1993. Put him there. Oops. There's just an extra card behind there that did not get signed. His line was so long, I only got into it one time. Last, I got Mr. Benito Santiago. We got a few of his cards signed. One of which is a 1990 Leaf, which is a duplicate for me. I already have that particular card signed. Mr. Benito Santiago. I also had planned on taking some video at the show so that I could tack it on to these cards, and that didn't happen, mainly because I was just too busy. Next up, Mr. former NFL player, Mr. Hanford Dixon, played with the Browns for, I want to say it was about 8 years. But I managed to get couple autographs from him. And lastly for today, former Major League Baseball player Len Barker, and thanks to the fact that they took wild card tickets, I got several signed by him. Len Barker. I think there's 5 here. And that one, Mr. Len Barker. And that pretty much is a wrap for day 2. Those were the only signers there for today, being the VIP preview party and preview night. They don't generally bring in other signers other than the ones for the VIPs. They usually have the people who are signing at the party, which were, again, supposed to be Sax, ended up being Ellis Burks, Benito Santiago, and Dwight Gooden. The 2 regular program VIPs that were signing on the show floor were Hanford Dixon and Len Barker. So, like I said, day 1 is a wrap. We will see you after tomorrow, see what I end up getting. I know I'll get the VIP guys, but I haven't decided. I kind of came into this year's National thinking I'll go for the VIP guys, and we'll see what happens with everything else. So I did not advance order any autograph tickets for the pay signers. There's a couple that I'd like to get, so we'll have to see how it goes. I'll decide. I usually decide each day exactly what I'm getting. So I'm going to review the list for tomorrow before I go to bed tonight and see what happens. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow night, probably later in the evening, like this, and then we'll go from there. Have a good evening, what's left of it, and we'll see you tomorrow.